So you may have noticed over the years, I use a lot of movie analogies. And I thought, you know what, I suspect a lot of people think the reason I bring up movie examples is to make things relatable for young people, especially the kids. It has nothing to do with the kids. Back in the day when I was in the seminary studying for the holy priesthood, my biggest obstacle when it came to discernment is probably not what you might expect. It wasn't women, it wasn't relationships, it wasn't sexuality, it was identity. And so to put it simply, the way I thought of it was, the priesthood is this, but I'm that. And so if God's called me to this, why would he make me that? And so I was laboring under this false and overly narrow notion of what the priesthood was. And so my thinking was, well, gosh, if God has called me to the holy priesthood, it would seem to be he's calling me to be something which is not me. Which means he's not calling me, which means he doesn't want me to be me. And that is just depressing. So what does it mean? If I don't do this thing that I don't want to do, if I don't become this person I don't want to be, at the very least, God is disappointed. At most, my salvation is in jeopardy. That's just a weighty thought. And so what I would do, I would see movies by myself, because this was kind of an oasis where I could get away and just be me. So I could like the movie, I could hate the movie, it didn't matter, the movie wouldn't care, right? I would have this 2-hour window where I could just breathe, and then, okay, once it's over, I go back to my painful life, where it would seem to be that God is not interested in me, and that was my life for most of seminary formation. And so even though it was 6 years, it felt like 20 years. But funny enough, what would happen, for certain scenes in certain movies, not all scenes, not all movies, something would hit me, and all of a sudden, I'll be in tears. And not just like crying a little bit, but like ugly cry. And every single time when I would unpack it, it'd be something to do with Jesus revealing something about his heart and my relationship with him. I remember this happened with Inside Out 2. I saw Inside Out 2, and it wasn't the opening weekend, but it was the weekend after that. And parents with young kids. And then the lights came up. 4 little kids are super cute, but they have no clue what this movie's about. And one kid was like, yay. And I'm bawling my eyes out. Like, what is this? And it took me a while to unpack it, but again, like, here's Jesus Christ speaking to my heart through this thing which I love. And I remember talking to my spiritual director about it, and he said, don't you realize that Jesus Christ is speaking to you through this thing? And it wasn't like simply this cool thing, like, isn't it neat that God speaks to me through movies? It's like, my goodness, God speaks to me through my true self. That was a huge shock, but also a massive relief. And obviously it still happens to this day. And so sometimes after I see a movie, I'll share it with you people, but a lot of times I do not. Because I realize it's not for you, it's for me. And every time I share these things, it's not for the kids. Like, I'm sharing with you something which is really close and extremely personal. Here's a sliver of my interior life with Jesus Christ the Lord. I bring this up to you because it's very important you know that the way that the Lord prefers to change the world in and through you is through your authentic self. That might be hard to believe, but it's actually true. Your true and authentic self. Not your false self, not your fearful self, not even the self that you think the Lord wants you to be. Not even that. Your true self. And so it's very important that you be you. Not just for you, but for like the world.